tricksters, flipsters, and finger-popping daddies. Knock me your loads.
Come with me.
What was that?
Come with me. I think you need a break. Before you are broken, that's a break you can't fix. I can help you. Come with me. Relax. Don't worry. It's right through here. Do you hear that? It must be a carnival nearby. There it is, right over there. Someday I'll take you there to see and hear the great mysteries handed down from generation to generation. But that's for a different day. Let's keep going. Here we are. How are you feeling now? Better? We're going to go this way, right up this channel. What's that? This doesn't look familiar to you? It shouldn't. You've never been on this river before. The name of the river? It's called Esoterica. This is the river that runs through all of us. We have a way to go now. There is a village upriver. People are waiting for you, and they are preparing for you to show you the new way. A shaman waits for you to show you a new way to the true self. The shaman has prepared a special drink for you. You will drink from the cup, and the potion will free your mind. Relax. Chill out. Come with me.
Welcome to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. Unusual, bizarre, odd, enigmatic, cryptic, strange, inexplicable, offbeat. Welcome to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo, the show that asks the question, huh?
Chupa, 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 cabra, chupa, cabra, chupa, chupa, cabra, chupa, cabra.
Adolf Hitler is still alive. I slept with her last night. Come out from behind that false mustache, Adolf. I know you're in there.
Jim, knock it off.
Lots of trouble, lots of blues. Whole lot of nothing and nothing to lose, all right. What was that?
This is show number 12 of Esoterica. I'm in your head, man. The average human has 12 cranial nerves. The 12th moon of Jupiter is Lysithia. The number 12 is very important in many religions, mainly Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, but some uses are to be found in pagan times. In antiquity, there are numerous magical religious uses of 12. Ancient Greek religion, the 12 Olympians, were the principal gods of the pantheon. The chief Norse god Odin had 12 sons. Several sets of 12 cities are identified in history as Dodecapolis, the most familiar being the Etruscan League. In the King Arthur legend, Arthur is said to have subdued 12 rebel princes and to have won 12 great battles against Saxon invaders. This is show number 12 of Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. Show number 12. The importance of 12 in Judaism and Christianity can be found in the Bible. The biblical Jacob had 12 sons, who were the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel, while the New Testament describes 12 apostles of Jesus. When Judas Iscariot was disgraced, a meeting was held to add Matthias to complete the number 12 once more. This is show number 12 of Esoterica. The book of Revelation contains much numerical symbolism, and a lot of the numbers mentioned have 12 as a divisor. There are 12 days of Christmas. The song 12 Days of Christmas came from the traditional practice of extending Yuletide celebrations over the 12 days from Christmas Day to the eve of Epiphany. The period of 13 days, including Epiphany, is sometimes known as Christmas Tide. In Shia Islam, there are 12 imams, legitimate successors of the Prophet Muhammad. Hinduism, the sun god Surya has 12 names. Most calendar systems have 12 months in a year. This is show number 12 of Esoterica. The Western zodiac has 12 signs, as does the Chinese zodiac. The Chinese use a 12-year cycle for time reckoning called earthly branches. There are 24 hours in a day in all, with 12 hours for half a day. The number of function keys on most PC keyboards, F1 through F12. This is show number 12 of Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo here on WPKN 89.5 in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Blasting across the airwaves, streaming on WPKN.org all over the world. Welcome on one and all to this journey of knowledge, fun, wisdom, laughter, tears, all rolled into one, well, hopefully ending on a laugh, because there's nothing better than laughter. And so glad to have all our faithful listeners here for show number 12. We've got a baker's dozen, you might say.
Isn't that nice? Yep.
Finally, a year and 2 weeks later,
Nice
here
round
we
number.
are. And we're so glad to be here with you and have you along with us. And for any of you that grew up in the golden age of TV sitcoms, I am sure you had your favorite shows like I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, The Addams Family, The Beverly Hillbillies, Car 54, where are you? Ooh, ooh, that would be Joey Ross. Ooh, ooh, but let us not forget one of the great shows of all time, one of my favorites, F Troop.
The end of the Civil War was near when quite accidentally a hero who sneezed abruptly ceased retreat and reversed it to victory. His Medal of Honor pleased and thrilled his proud little family group. While pinning it on, some blood was spilled, and so it was planned he'd command F Troop, where Indian fights are colorful sights and nobody takes a lickin', where pale face and red skin both turn chicken. When thrilling and fighting get them down, they know their morale can't droop, as long as they all relax in town before they resume with a bang and a boom. F Troop!
Yes, F Troop, one of my all-time favorite shows. I remember sitting with my dad, who was an avid John Wayne Western lover, Randolph Scott and all those other great cowboy actors, and he got a great kick out of watching F Troop, as did I. And one of the guys who I believe formed me in my formative years to be a stand-up comic, someone who I got a lot of influence from, was Mr. Larry Storch, who is also our guest here on Esoterica. Larry, welcome to the show. Hello, Larry. Welcome to the show.
Let's see what's going on here.
Okay.
He certainly was there.
Is Larry with us, Richie?
Apparently he's not, but he was.
Well, we'll try and get him on the phone.
Yeah, I'll give it another try.
And we had a little false start there, ladies and gentlemen. There in Radio Land, these things happen. They're known as gremlins. Gremlins. And our producer, Richie, is in the midst of a moppy brow and a consternated look, as if he was trying to pass a square peg through a round hole. And going through the Rubik's Cube maze of buttons and knobs, looking in a quizzical manner and mumbling some obscene things to himself. He is trying to find why he lost Mr. Larry Storch, who was Corporal Agarn on the long-lived, funny show, F Troop, which had Calamity Jane, Captain Parmenter, Sergeant O'Rourke, and the Indian tribe, the Hakawis. Did we drop Larry on the phone?
His line's busy. I don't know what happened.
Maybe he's trying to call back.
Yeah, we'll figure it out in a couple minutes, or we'll play something and then figure it out. But I'll get him back. I'll get him back.
We can go back to the F Troop theme, and in the meantime, you could try to reach Larry, and then we could come back on that bed of lovely TV ditty music there. How's that sound?
If it works, yeah. Let's give it a shot.
You never know.
Let's give it a shot.
It'll probably put you in a cluster schmuck of mind, but,
see what happens.
A little Schleck and Dreck and a little Mop Bean, and you got yourself an arugula. Let's see. Nothing's really working out today, huh? Okay. Well, that's okay. There we go.
There we go.
Now you go right ahead and try and find Mr. Storch.
When quite accidentally, a hero who sneezed abruptly ceased retreat and reversed it to victory. His Medal of Honor pleased and thrilled his proud little family group. While pinning it on, some blood was spilled, and so it was planned he'd command F Troop, where Indian fights are colorful sights and nobody takes a lickin', where pale face and red skin both turn chicken. When thrilling and fighting get them down, they know their morale can't droop, as long as they all relax in town before they resume with a bang and a boom. F Troop!
Okay, we're back, and I believe now we have Mr. Larry Storch from F Troop on the phone. Hello, Larry. Hello, Larry. Can Larry hear us, Richie? Ask him if he could hear us. What happened now?
I have no idea. I'm hitting all the buttons I hit every time we do this, and for some reason he's not there. Maybe we'll play a little something, and I'll figure this out.
Okay.
Because what else are we going to do?
Hey, on this ship we always have a life preserver. I'm sure there's something from that bank of catalogs of music in this great library. You could dredge something up and get that gremlin out of the studio. What do you think?
Yeah, let's give something a try here, and we'll be back
shortly. Did it
shortly.
disconnect again when you went to him, or?
No, it's just not coming up in the air. I don't know.
Okay.
I see somebody that can help us. So let's just play something for people to listen to, and then we'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This next song was written by a man right here in Folsom Prison. And last night was the first time I've ever sung this song. Anyway, this song was written by our friend Glenn Shirley. And hope we do your song justice, Glenn. We're going to do our best. Inside the walls of prison, my body may be, but my Lord has set my soul free. There's a gray stone chapel here at Folsom, a house of worship in this den of sin. You wouldn't think that God had a place here at Folsom, but he saved the soul of many lost men. Now this gray stone chapel here at Folsom stands 100 years old, made of granite rock. It takes a ring of keys to move here at Folsom, but the door to the house of God is never locked. Inside the walls of prison, my body may be, but the Lord has set my soul free. There are men here that don't ever worship. There are men here who scoff at the ones who pray. But I've got down on my knees in that gray stone chapel, and I thank the Lord for helping me each day. Now this gray stone chapel here at Folsom, it has a touch of God's hand on every stone. It's a flower of light in a field of darkness, and it's given me the strength to carry on. Inside the walls of prison, my body may be, but my Lord has set my soul free. Have an announcement from Lieutenant Piper. Steady. Duffy, number 9047, custody office. A gentleman here I'd like to have stand up with a very, very proud man. He used to be many years ago a badland farmer down in Dias, Arkansas, but he's Johnny Cash's daddy, Mr. Ray Cash. I'd like to bring up a gentleman who's got something to say to Johnny Cash. The gentleman you all know, the Associate Warden, Mr. Faustman. Come on out and steady here, steady. See you, sir. You want Mr. John Cash, don't you?
Sort of like to, yeah.
Johnny!
Johnny, a little memento from Folsom Prison. Hey, Ralph! Like a couple of them.
Hi, Larry. Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Oh, finally. All right. Hooray. Oh, we got rid of that little gremlin.
Okay, who's this?
This is Johnny Rizzo of Esoterica.
How you doing, Johnny?
Oh, it's a pleasure and a great privilege to talk to you, Mr. Storch.
Oh, Larry, don't give me that, mister.
Beautiful. Larry, oh my goodness. This is we had a couple of gremlins in the board here at the studio, and we finally are communicating directly with the star of F Troop, who played Corporal Agarn, ladies and gentlemen, a show that's very dear and near to all of us that grew up in the great age of television sitcoms, Larry Storch.
Well, gee, you ought to be my agent with that kind of...
Larry, I was doing a little background information on you, and I understand that you grew up and you were born in New York City?
I was born in New York City, and I grew up a large part of my young life in Brooklyn.
Ah, Brooklyn. That's now Brooklyn is often the butt of many jokes, as we know.
It was the Clown Borough, it was called.
The Clown Borough.
Yeah.
Now, growing up in Brooklyn, well, Brooklyn's quite different now. But very little has changed, and in a lot of ways it has changed. But it was such a breeding ground for so many talented people. What do you think attributed that to show business people, Brooklyn? What was the thing about Brooklyn that so many famous people came from there?
That's a very good question. Well, you know, a lot of the comics came from Brooklyn. And a lot of the Jewish comics did, and they started from there, and then they worked their way up into the Catskills. But I don't know if anybody really knows why so many comics did come from Brooklyn. That's a good question. I wish I knew the answer, but a lot of them did come from Brooklyn.
Well, they always say like that the movie The Sunshine Boys that. Words with the word letter K in it are funnier than other words. Like, you know, Knish is funnier than, say, celery. You know, words with the letter K, a phonetic thing. And there's 2 Ks in Brooklyn, right?
No, I think it's just one.
Oh, that's right. BR. Yeah, that's right.
There's 2 O's in Brooklyn.
2 O's, yes. And you also attended the same school as the star of Get Smart, Mr. Don Adams. A very funny man in his own right.
Don Adams and I, when I finally ended up in New York City, we grew up together. And from the time we were about 13 years old, or even less, about 13 years old, and so we grew up practically together on the same street. And he was a very talented guy.
Was he? Did he have? Did you see hints of his talent even back then when you were that young?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Was he a wiseacre, or was he?
No, No, he never was. And it surprised me in a way that he finally embarked on a show business career. And at one point, he even teamed up with my younger brother, and they billed themselves in Florida as the Young Brothers. And their specialty was impersonations. You dirty rat, I'm going to give it to you just like you gave it to my brother.
James Cagney.
Now look who's coming now. You know you're leaving tonight, or you're leaving a pine box. You know, those, and they had those impersonations down pat. And so they worked together for about 6 months in Florida.
Wow, that's interesting, too, because you guys had a wonderful time at the movies, because for a nickel you saw a movie and a coming attraction and a cartoon. And
That's true.
And so you also were subject to some of the golden age of Hollywood films, and mimicry was one of your fortes as well.
Indeed, it was. I mean, I was a very young kid, and my first impersonation was Claude Rains. I remember didn't see Claude Rains, that's funny, in The Invisible Man. You know, so when I first started in nightclubs, and they were strip joints, I billed myself as the Rembrandt of impressions, and one of them was Claude Rains.
That's catchy. That's a catchy title, the Rembrandt of impressions.
Oh, yes. And I remember I worked at Albany, my very first job, and this was after I dropped out of school. I just turned 18, and it was called Wally's Gay 90s in Albany. And after the show was over, the boss called me over, and he said, "Hey, listen, kid, I like you and all that, but my customers, they don't know who Rembrandt is. I don't know how to tell you this, but you're fired." And so I only lasted one night on my very first job. And in those days, may I tell you, the salary that I earned for one night, for 1 week, was $25 a week. Yes, and I sent a good part of that home. This was in the Depression years, you have to remember.
So a coffee was the cost of a nickel.
Oh, of course.
And so, yeah, if you was a pretty decent pay.
$25 a week. Well, my mother and father thought it was heaven.
Sure. And now you mentioned that you dropped out of school. Why would Larry Storch drop out of school?
High school.
Oh, out of high school. Why would Larry Storch drop out of high school, Larry?
Well, I wasn't doing very good in my classes anyway, and somehow I got an offer to go up to Albany, and I wanted to drop out. My mother was very much against it, and the principal agreed with me, and he said, "Mrs. Storch, he's not going to get anywhere in school, and this will be a start for him, and he'll learn his profession." And so my mother gave in, and I started in show business as soon as I dropped out of high school.
That's interesting. The principal recognized that you'd be better served in show business than in the school.
And taking up space in high school, Riley.
That's interesting. Now, so when you started in the Catskills, there was a term called tumeling?
Tumeling, yes.
Could you explain to our listeners what that reference means?
Tumeling means getting mixed up in everything. You were mixed up at the pool and the dance hall, and tumeling was kind of a joshing around, a playing around. Tumeling.
Is that akin to schmoozing, but more in a comedic fashion, right?
Yeah, schmoozing was had kisses and hugs and kisses when you schmoozed.
Right.
But when you're tumeling, you're with the boys and you're roughhousing it up, having a good time, tumeling.
And that would draw people to come see you perform, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, tumeling was, there was nobody to say, "Hey, take it easy." When you tumbled, you were in a kind of a friendly brawl, tumeling around.
I see. Now, if I may ask, what was your father and your mother's occupation in Brooklyn?
My father, he came from Poland when during the Depression, he drove a cab, and that was his profession. And they're lucky to get that too, I might add. And that's what he did. Yes.
Yes. And your mother?
My mother was interested in renting little brownstone houses, and she even ended up owning a brownstone house. And one of our clients, one of our customers, was Orson Welles. This is back in 1935.
That's an amazing tidbit right there. Orson Welles is also one of my heroes.
I moved him into a little room in the back, facing a little old garden, and he came. It was no bigger than a telephone booth, and he came in, all full of hope, and you couldn't stop him. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, I'll do wonderful work. It was like a telephone booth that he was in, and it was about $20 a week. My God, but he was unstoppable. Orson Welles was.
And he was quite slim then too. A lot of people picture him as heavy set.
He was.
He was quite handsome, slim.
And this is before the War of Worlds, way before the War of Worlds.
I see. So he was already brainstorming about that time, probably in his mind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. There was no stopping him, even at that tender age.
And he dabbled in magic, too. He was an accomplished stage magician.
Now, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Now, Larry, the war came along, and during World War II, you were on a submarine with the future actor?
A submarine tender.
Tender.
And I was on it with we were on the same ship with Tony Curtis.
My goodness, Tony Curtis, another prolific actor, another legend.
Oh, boy. And here I'd been in show business about 2 or 3 years, or whatever, about 2 years, and I knew you could be fired, and I knew it was a tough business. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to be a big movie star one day." And I said, "Listen, kiddo, dear boy, I've been in this business. It's very tough. You're a good-looking kid. Why don't you model clothes? You've got a good physique, and you're a good-looking kid. Model clothes." No, Tony Curtis would have none of it. I'm going to be a movie star. And by God, he put his finger right on it, and he did become a star.
And his real name was Schwartz, wasn't it?
Bernie Schwartz.
Bernie Schwartz.
He said Frank Sinatra called him Boynie. Yeah, he was Boynie to Frank Sinatra. And,
that is something.
Yeah.
And not only, before we even go too far ahead, some of your credits, which are just amazing, was Get Smart, Sergeant Bilko, and we just lost Mickey Freeman, unfortunately, recently.
Right, yes.
He was a very funny man.
Yes, he was.
And a great stand-up comic who I used to run into him on the Joey Reynolds show.
Oh, yes,
on WOR. And right up to the end, Mickey was with the one-liners, and he had a machine gun kind of staccato rhythm.
Yeah, it's you wouldn't think he was a funny guy. I mean, to look at Mickey Freeman, you think he was a guy who came to check your gas meter or something like that, until he started talking, and then you realize that he was a heck of a comic, a very, very good comic, very funny guy.
Well, I guess one of the highlights, or shall I say, one of your favorite Broadway productions was Porgy and Bess. Am I right?
Oh boy, that was the highlight of my, I would say, my stage, career. Porgy and Bess was an opera, practically almost an opera.
I would say so.
And I toured all over the United States, Canada. I was with it for 3 years, Italy, and so I loved doing that show.
Now, when you say theater, there was a run through Connecticut as well in lots of these stage shows, and Bridgeport, Connecticut had a lot of theaters, and we're broadcasting from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Do you recall traveling through Connecticut in your stage career?
New Haven, Hartford. Let me see. Those are the two cities.
Yes.
That show business took you through.
Now, did you find the New England, Connecticut audiences any different than any other state, or were they all the same?
I think they were all the same. But what knocked me out was when I parked the car, when I got to Boston, and we parked that car
in Harbor Yard?
In the yard. And then when I heard the biggest, and it knocked me out, that Boston accent was just the funniest accent I think I'd heard. And the biggest ovation I ever received, I did a benefit, and I said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask rather what you can do for your country. But there was that Boston thing in there, and that was the most applause I ever got doing an impression of President Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do, ask what you can do for your country. But that ask, that Boston, that was very funny to me anyway.
Similar to a drawl.
In a way, yeah.
But not exactly a drawl, but it had similarities to a drawl.
Right.
What was it like working with Mr. Forrest Tucker? He seemed like a very jovial, fun guy.
He was the nicest guy. I mean, to me he was. And it's a funny thing. I would tell him a joke, and he'd say, we're going to use that. And he would get the director and say, Larry, tell him the joke you just told me. And I would tell him the joke. And if they liked it, they put it in the script. But he was my champion. And the nicest guy, for me, he was. And we were just the best of friends.
He seems like somebody that I would love to have a beer with and sit down and have him tell me stories, that type of fellow.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And how was Ken Barry?
He was the most underrated guy and the most talented. He could do anything. First of all, he was a heck of a showman in Broadway taps. He was a very fine tap dancer, and he could sing. And also, he was a very good comedian. Nobody realized because he didn't explode on the screen the way as far as Tucker and I did. But he played it very calm and cool. That was what was asked of him in his role. And he was marvelous. He was absolutely wonderful.
He was the perfect straight man for Aegon.
Wasn't he? He was marvelous.
Now, I'm very curious about, his name slips my mind right now, the Indian chief.
Chief Wild Eagle. His name was Frank Dakova.
That's it. Frank Dakova. Now, there's an interesting fellow and really, really funny lines in that show. And his takes, his facial takes, his eyes would get large.
I know.
Oh, great actor. Him and Crazy Cat.
Crazy Cat, yeah.
He was hilarious.
What was that actor's name, Crazy Cat?
Don Diamond.
Oh, he used to crack me up.
He was hilarious. He was...
Yeah, he was always, he wanted to be the chief of the tribe.
Right.
Yep.
Right. What was it like with those two fellows? Were they?
Oh, wonderful! It was the best cast, I think. It was that I've ever been with. The best I've ever been with. I mean, on a television show like that.
That show had so many fun elements because everybody is so familiar with the Western movies and the cavalry. She wore a yellow ribbon, very serious. So all the stereotypes and characters were there to utilize, and you know, the conniving Aegon and Tucker, the businessman.
The O'Rourke Enterprises.
The O'Rourke Enterprises, correct? Oh yes. Now you know I would love to see that come back on television, but today it seems like the comedy. I'm only in my early 50s, but and I'm no prude because I do stand-up comedy in today's world, but I find that the humor has changed. It's a lot meaner today.
Oh, indeed it is. Go ahead.
What is your take on the humor scene and why there's no sitcoms today?
Why there is what? I didn't hear you.
Why do you think there's a lack of quality and good sitcoms? Do you think it's too expensive to do sitcoms, and that's why they're doing reality shows, or there's no...
You hit it right on the head, the reality shows. And there are so many shows that are trying to be comedy shows. I think there's just... In my day, when we first came up, there were just three networks, ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Right.
But today, there's who knows how many there are. And I find that the material today can be very, I don't know, it's a little too rough for me. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that kind of a comedy in person, on stage, even in nightclubs. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it.
I feel it's a lack of writing and creativity when they go for it.
I agree with you. I think it is. It's shock treatment, and it's supposed to cover up a lot of sins,
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't stand the Three Stooges, that sort of thing. One of my favorite comics was Bob Newhart.
Brilliant man, very clever.
Oh boy!
And his telephone conversation bit.
Oh, stop right there. They were the funniest things I think I ever heard.
One of the things I'm amazed about is so many impressionists have been credited with the Judy, Judy, Judy line attributed to Cary Grant, who never said that. And it was actually you, Larry.
Yeah, right.
Could you tell us a little bit about that incident?
Well, you see, it was a good way to get into Cary Grant, just to say that name, Judy, Judy, Judy. And I remember one time they took me, he was having lunch at the commissary, and they took me in to see Cary Grant while he was having lunch, and they said, Larry, do Cary for him. So I did Cary Grant for Cary Grant while he was having his lunch, and he said, my God, he even breathes like me. So
he was a class act, wasn't he?
Oh, come on. He was one of the great ones. He really was.
And today they have the, I guess, would be the modern-day equivalent, the Brad Pitts and all this, and I just don't, I don't see it.
No, it's not the same.
Not to take away from those guys. I'm not trying to belittle the Brad Pitts of the world. They do serve a function, but the class is gone, the demeanor.
And even on the women, I mean... Where would you put who would you team Brad Pitt with? Katharine Hepburn or Bette Davis? And there were some great actresses when we were growing up. My God, Barbara Stanwyck. Everybody was a really great talent.
And they were all trained, really trained. Today, a sports star can get a movie contract.
Of course.
Which amazes me because so many people slave away in acting schools and never get a break, and then some Charlie comes out of nowhere with no acting experience, and they call him a natural.
Yes, I forgot to tell you this. When Tony Curtis and I, when we said goodbye in the Navy, I said to him, listen, you'll be able to find me through the theatrical paper, The Variety. If you need any help at all, please call me. Don't you know it ends up in 1955? He calls me and he says, listen, I got a part for you in a movie. You're playing it on Broadway. I'm going to make the movie with Dean Martin, and I want you to be in the movie. And he started putting me in every movie that he could. It wasn't that something and here I'm telling him, if you need any help, call me. And he ended up pushing me into every job that he could. Isn't that wonderful?
That's what I call loyalty, which I find in the world of stand-up comedy today, being one myself, it's a little shall we say, cutthroat and all for one.
Now, who were the comics that you like in stand-up?
Well, for being controversial, I would have to say Lenny Bruce was one of my favorites.
Oh boy,
he was a bit ahead of his time, and
yes, he was.
He paid a very high price for that.
Yes, he did.
And as far as television comedy, Red Skelton was my hero.
Of course.
And he had so many characters, and Danny Kaye I enjoyed quite a bit.
Very good. He was very good.
And very, very talented. And I also liked Laurel and Hardy as opposed to the Stooges.
Oh, yes, indeed. They were marvelous.
I feel that a person does not have a funny bone if they could sit and watch a Hal Roach short of Laurel and Hardy and not laugh. That's a litmus test for humor for me. And I also noticed that you got to work with another hero of mine, an amazing man, Professor Irwin Corey.
Professor Irwin Corey. How do you know Irwin Corey? The professor invited me to his birthday party, and I couldn't come to the party. But anyway, he called me and said, "Jesus Christ, I understand. Don't worry about it." But Irwin Corey, I've known him for over 50 years, 55 years.
He's a dynamo.
Isn't he something?
He is a dynamo, and his character with the hair and the tucks and the tails hanging out.
Yes.
And his great opening line, "In closing."
Yeah. Oh, what was it? He had another opening line.
Was that it?
Yeah. Another opening line. Oh, what was... Oh, God, I can't remember. What was the question? Yeah, what was the question?
Yes.
No,
However,
yeah.
yes. What a great non sequitur that is. Because
however.
you could launch anywhere from that, you know.
Sure, right.
And also, Jackie Gleason personally asked you to fill in for him?
Yes, he did. He didn't ask me. He said, "I picked Larry." He said, "I picked you out, and you're going to fill in for me 1950 in the summer, and I'm going to leave Art Carney with you." And he said, "Now remember, Larry, we're on live. Hundreds of people are going to be watching, not thousands or millions, but if that would be too much. We didn't understand. Hundreds of people are going to be watching. We're on live, so just don't say blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're on live. I'm going to leave Art Carney with you." Art Carney was a genius.
Oh.
And so that was my only meeting with the great Gleason.
The great one.
The great one.
Yes, he was. Before we wrap up, Larry, I like to touch on something that amazes me. You were actually the original Ghostbusters.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were. Tucker, myself, and the gorilla.
And Eddie Spencer?
Spencer, right.
That was 1975, I believe.
Was it? 1970. And the gorilla had all the brains. He drove the car. He planned the robberies. He cooked. He did everything. The gorilla had all the brains in the trio.
Now, they made this big blockbuster film, and there was no nod at all to you guys? No. That is just wrong in so many ways. But that's the way of Hollywood, isn't it?
Right, I guess so, yeah.
Nowadays, anyway. And let's not forget that Larry has voiced characters in Tennessee Tuxedo, one of the great cartoons.
Well, the voice that I used in that one was Frank Morgan. You remember Frank Morgan? He was in The Wizard of Oz.
Uh-huh. And
Judy Garland said to him, "Oh, you're a very bad man." He said, "No, I'm a good man. I'm just a lousy wizard."
Mr. Whoopi.
Mr. Whoopi, yeah, I loved Frank Morgan.
And you did quite a bit of cartoon work, and you were the original voice of the Joker in the Batman animated cartoon series.
You know, it's so far back I can't remember what voice I used. Really.
Well, Larry, will you come and visit us again on the show sometime?
All you got to do is ask.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo, and this is Mr. Larry Storch. Larry, all I could say is thank you so much for bringing the world so much joy and laughter and inspiring me to follow in the footsteps of all the other great comics like yourself.
But Marlon Brando said it. Don't forget now to bring the cannolis. Don Corleone. I was going over his voice today just to see if I could still do Don Corleone.
Larry, God bless you, and thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Thank you, Larry.
Right. Bye-bye.
Larry Storch, right here on Esoterica. F Troop. Corporal Agarn.
That was pretty fun, huh?
That was awesome.
That was cool. Let me get a little business done here, and before I do,
yes,
I want to do a quick shout-out to Mindaugas, if I said that correctly, Mindaugas, in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Oh, Dag Julius?
That's the name of the band, I think, of the song we played. But Tuto Bituto. Dagilis. Yes, I'm
they
sure
should
he
change
could
the
say
name
it.
to Dagmar.
Dagmar. Well, that would
work.
Americanize it for sure. Anyway, we wanted to do a shout-out to our live listeners in Lithuania. Say that 10 times fast.
And all over the world, by the way.
There, too. Mm-hmm. And we are listening, and you are listening to...
And check us out on Facebook. We have a fan club page now.
Yes.
We have a Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo page on Facebook. If you want to know what the upcoming shows are all about and what we're doing with the show, check us out there.
That is correct. We are on Facebook. And to get the business out of the way, you're listening to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo on WPKN, 89.5 FM in Bridgeport, and online, WPKN.org.
Music lovers! At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of the really great acts of all time making their saloon debut. Let's have a real Fort Currents welcome for the Bedbugs!
Out the back way, boys! Hey! You crumbs!
There was a little alley in San Francisco, back of the Southern Pacific Station at 3rd and Townsend, in red brick of drowsy, lazy afternoons with everybody at work in offices. In the air you feel the impending rush of their commuter frenzy. As soon they'll be charging en masse for market and Sansom buildings on foot and in buses and all well-dressed through working man Frisco of walk-up truck drivers. And even the poor grime-bemarked 3rd Street of lost bums, even Negroes so hopeless and long left east, and meanings of responsibility and try, that now all they do is stand there spitting in the broken glass, sometimes 50 in one afternoon against one wall at 3rd and Howard. It is all these Millbrae and San Carlos neat necktied producers and commuters of America and steel civilization rushing by with San Francisco Chronicles and green call bulletins, not even enough time to be disdainful. They've got to catch 130, 132, 134, 136, all the way up to 146, till the time of evening supper in homes of the railroad earth, when high in the sky the magic stars ride above the following hot-shot freight trains. It's all in California. It's all a sea. I swim out of it in afternoons of sun-hot meditation in my jeans with head on handkerchief on brakeman's lantern, or, if not working, on book I look up at blue sky of perfect lost purity and feel the warp of wood of old America beneath me. And I have insane conversations with Negroes in second-story windows above, and everything is pouring in. The switching moves of boxcars in that little alley, which is so much like the alleys of Lowell, and I hear far off in the sense of coming night that engine calling our mountains. But it was that beautiful cut of clouds I could always see above the little SP alley. Puffs floating by from Oakland, or the gate of Marin to the north, or San Jose south. The clarity of Cal to break your heart. It was the fantastic drowse and drum hum of lum mum afternoon, nothing to do. Old Frisco with end of land sadness. The people, the alley full of trucks and cars of businesses nearabouts. Nobody knew or far from cared who I was all my life. 3,500 miles from birth, all opened up, and at last belonged to me in great America. And now it's night in 3rd Street. The keen little neons, and also yellow bulb lights of impossible-to-believe flops. The dark, ruined shadows moving back of torn yellow shades like a degenerate China with no money. The cats in Annie's alley. The flop comes on, moans, rolls. The street is loaded with darkness. Blue sky above with stars hanging high over old hotel roofs and blowers of hotels moaning out dusts of interior. The grime inside the word-in mouths falling out tooth by tooth. The reading rooms tick-tock, big clock with creak chair and slant boards and old faces looking up over rimless spectacles bought in some West Virginia or Florida or Liverpool, England pawn shop long before I was born. And across rains, they've come to the end of the land sadness, end of the world gladness. All your San Francisco will have to fall eventually and burn again. But I'm walking, and one night, a bum fell into the hole of the construction job where they're tearing a sewer by day. The husky Pacific and Electric youths in torn jeans who work there, often I think of going up to some of them like, say, blonde ones with wild hair and torn shirts, and they say, "You ought to apply for the railroad. It's much easier work. You don't stand around the street all day and you get much more pay." But this bum fell in the hole. You saw his foot stick out. British MG, also driven by some eccentric, once backed into that hole. And as I came home from a long Saturday afternoon local to Hollister out of San Jose, miles away across verdurous fields of prune and juice joy, here's this British MG backed and legs up, wheels up into a pit, and bums and cops standing right outside the coffee shop. It was the way they fenced it, but he never had the nerve to do it due to the fact that he had no money and nowhere to go, and oh, his father was dead, and oh, his mother was dead, and oh, his sister was dead, and oh, his whereabout was dead. But and then at that time also, I used to lay in my room on long Saturday afternoons listening to Jumpin' George with my fifth of Tokay, no tea, and just under the sheets laugh to hear the crazy music. Mama, he treats your daughter mean. Mama, Papa, don't you come in here, I'll kill you, etc. Getting high by myself in room glooms, and all wondrous knowing about the Negro, the essential American, out there, always finding his solace, his meaning in the Fellaheen street, and not an abstract morality. And even when he has a church, you see the pastor out front bowing to the ladies on the make. You hear his great vibrant voice on the Sunday afternoon sidewalk full of sexual vibratos saying, "Why, yes, man, but the gospel do say that man was born of woman's womb." No, and so, by that time I come crawling out of my warm sack and hit the street. When I see the railroad ain't gonna call me till 5 a.m. Sunday morning probably, for a local out of Bay Shore. In fact, always for a local out of Bay Shore. And I go to the whale bar of all the wild bars in the world, the one and only 3rd and Howard. And there I go in and drink with the madmen, and if I get drunk, I get. The girl who come up to me in there one night, I was there with Al Buckle, said to me, "You want to play with me tonight, Jim?" And I didn't think I had enough money. And I told this to Charlie Lowe, and he laughed, said, "How do you know she wanted money? Always take the chance that she might be out just for love, or just out for love. You know what I mean? Don't be a sucker." She was a good-looking doll. And she said, "How would you like to ool your cool with me, Mon?" and I stood there like a jerk. In fact, bought drink, got drunk that night, and in the $2.99 club, I was hit by the proprietor of the band breaking up the fight before I had a chance to decide to hit him back, which I didn't want to do anyway. And out on the street, I tried to rush back in, but they had locked the door and were looking at me through the forbidden glass in the door with faces like undersea. I should have played with her shoo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-dookie.
My mind is breaking. Can you feel the heat? My boots are burning when they hit the street. Good morning, whiskey. Good morning, night. The end of the world is in my sight. Coming out from the other side. If you know me, you must have died. Armageddon, Armageddon, bringing Carmageddon on its way. The world goes round too fast to see. The killing here, well, it gets waist deep. Good morning, Captain, the scout will say. The end of the world's gonna come today. I reach way back with an Indian guide. The battle I saw, I must have died. Armageddon, Armageddon, bringing Carmageddon on its way. Harlem coming round like a raging flame. I look like Abel, but I'm raising Cain. War and money burning all the time. What's going down is coming round. Armageddon's bound. Armageddon, Armageddon, bringing Carmageddon on its way. Traveling back on a spirit ride. It's going down, the captain cried. Armageddon, Armageddon, bringing Carmageddon on its way.
Hey, welcome back to the journey on board the good ship. Here we are, going up the river of Esoterica. You heard at the top of the set the Bed Bugs from the episode of F Troop, and that was actually the band Little Feat with Lowell George playing the Bed Bugs.
Yeah, that's some cool triv.
Some pretty good triv right there. And following that was Jack Kerouac with Steve Allen on the piano doing San Francisco Poem. And that was followed by not Hank Williams II, but Hank Williams III, the grandson of the great Hank Williams. And I got to tell you, he kicks some butt. He does a 3-hour show. He does a full hour of purist hillbilly or hellbilly country music. And then a total hour of punk. And he has a song that's dedicated to G.G. Allin, which I can't even repeat the title of the song on this show.
We can't talk much about G.G. Allin at all.
No, at all, really. And not practically anywhere. But he's really something, that Hank Williams III. And joining us now, since this is show number 12, our Baker's Dozen, we finally made it a year and 2 months. One of our first guests ever on a segment called Ask Dr. Dot, our own, very own, Dr. Dot. Hi, Doctor.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, good to have you back.
Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm so excited that we've made a dozen.
It's been a year.
A year.
It's been a year.
Yeah, a year.
Hard to believe.
It really is. Since the day that we saw Dot walking down the street in Manhattan and recognized her out of a million people because how could you miss that beautiful woman walking by?
Oh, that's so sweet.
You are unbelievable, Dot.
Did you recognize me from my MySpace picture where I'm sitting there on the toilet like Frank Zappa?
Yes, exactly. Oh, my God. Who can miss your punum? It is just the best. And Dr. Dot, for those that don't know, is a professional therapist. I don't know what the right term is today. What would they call it today?
Massage therapist.
Massage therapist. There you go. To all the rock stars, and now including movie stars, even Jackie Chan. And even
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. And I saw a picture of you recently with the amazing Steve Vai.
With who? I can't hear you. It's breaking up.
With Steve Vai, backstage with Steve.
Oh, yeah, Steve Vai has been a client of mine for a long time. He's the nicest guy ever. And his son, one of his sons, Julian, is also one of my massage employees. We call him Dot Bots. Julian Vai is a Dot Bot out in L.A.
Oh,
so
sweet.
we have rock and roll royalty on our team.
That is wow. That's really cool. And they call them Dot Bots. I like that.
Yeah, the bass player Brian Beller, who also played with Steve Vai on the tour, and also with what's the name of that heavy metal band? Anyways, Brian Beller, famous bass player. He got tired of saying, "Please send me a Dr. Dot massage assistant to the show." Then he said, "Okay, send me a Dot Bot." So he made that up like 5 or 6 years ago, and since then we've come up with we're using that nickname, Dot Bot.
That is a great catchy phrase. And Dot.
Oh, he plays with Death Clock. You know Death Clock?
Death Clock.
Yeah, he tours with them.
Dot, I am so impressed by your webpage and your business, how it's just growing. It just keeps growing, and how physically fit that you are. I mean, you actually rollerblade all over Manhattan.
Yeah, when I get a chance, I do. Yeah, it's quicker to get around on skates than in a car sometimes in Manhattan.
You're always zipping. Like when we saw you, you were on. We were at that movie premiere,
right at that intersection. She was like headphones, fast walking, just cruising.
Fast walking, and just like on the move. Dot just moving.
I walk fast. I got stuff to do. I can slow down when I'm dead. I'll have lots of time to relax when I'm in my coffin.
Ooh, a Frank Sinatra quote. I love that.
Oh, really?
Plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's sleeping his ass off now, isn't he?
Would it? Yeah.
And then
some.
Oh, man, on the other line is a band called The Perfect Circle calling. Uh-oh. They'll have to wait.
Oh, man, The Perfect Circle. Are they up and coming or are they established?
A Perfect Circle? They've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit out of it.
I know. I heard some of the music you guys were playing while I was on hold. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was Hank Williams III. Have you heard of him?
I heard of Hank Williams Jr., but I'm not really a country music fan. I'm more into rock and roll. I mean, my favorite band is the Beatles, and I love Frank Zappa, and I love Led Zeppelin, and I love Jimi Hendrix. Got a big old Jimi Hendrix tattoo on my butt. I'm not really into country music.
I saw that. It's awesome. Who did the ink?
Oh, Paul Booth. Paul Booth, Last Rites. He's one of the best tattoo artists in the world. He gave it to me for free because I brought him Greg Allman. Greg Allman is one of my clients, and Greg was looking to get some ink done. So I brought Greg into him many times to get his sleeves done by Paul, and out of being grateful for bringing Greg Allman to him, he gave me a tattoo. It's like 16 hours,
Now, Greg Allman is also one of my old-time Southern rock heroes. What's he like as a person? He seems like he's really cool.
He just emailed me today telling me he enjoyed his massage up in Syracuse, but no one's better than me. That's what he said. He's really funny. In fact, when he comes to town, like, we'll go and get some lotto tickets. He loves to play lotto. And, he doesn't smoke or drink. He's a good boy. And we, go out to eat and get some massage and stuff, and he gets some ink done. He's really funny. He's got a great sense of humor, and he always has the best music ever playing on his iPod.
Now, see, I would think you would look at Greg Allman because of their, pot history, and you would think he's a big-time stoner. And he doesn't. You're saying he's straight?
Oh, he can't. He hasn't drank for like 3 years. He hasn't smoked pot for a long time because he had, a liver transplant and a kidney transplant, and he's sober as hell.
I did not know that. I did not know that at all.
Well, it's not like I'm breaking the news. It's
it's
on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be the first one to tell you because I would never, give out a secret. But it's been on the news, so it's not like I'm,
No, you can't because you're a doctor.
Yeah, I know all that stuff, But he knows to take care of the machine if you want to last long, and he's just happier and healthier than ever now. He's ready to go.
Well, probably getting rid of Cher probably helped his longevity.
Does not like her.
No. A lot of
I'm like, I love Cher. He's like, I fucking hate. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah,
it's really hard for me not to swear. I just want, I've been pretty much raised backstage, and it's very hard. I'm trying to behave.
Yes, we'll just gloss over that and keep moving.
Okay.
We understand it's a rock and roll background, and you are immersed in the rock and roll world.
Yes, but I don't smoke and drink, so I don't take up that part of rock and roll. For me, music is the drug.
Right, right. Now, Dot, you also write a column for. Do you still write a column?
I write a sex advice column called Ask Dr. Dot, and it's syndicated in a couple different magazines.
Okay.
One of them was Penthouse Forum, and my last issue was October. I stopped working with them because they didn't like to pay on time.
Well, Bob Guccione just died too, didn't he?
Well, that's probably why they don't want to pay me on time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't do that. I don't do that crap for free anymore. I give friends advice for free, and anyone who emails me, I give them advice for free. But if I'm going to sit down and write for a magazine, they need to pay for that. You know? But you can get it in other magazines and on the internet. You just have to Google Ask Dr. Dot, and I answer questions in a very sarcastic way. I put it out there like it's supposed to be. I don't beat around the bush. And my column in Germany, there's an English magazine in Germany for all the English and Irish and Scottish and American people who live in Germany called the Ex-Berliner, and I've been writing for them for 9 years, every month.
You really have a big affinity with Germany. What is your connection with Germany? You really love Germany. You're always there, and
no, I was following the Grateful Dead. Met a German boy who looked like John Lennon. We followed the Dead together. I got knocked up, raised my child over there, and I have no German blood. Let's get this out in the open air. I have no German blood. I just had a kid with a German boy, and that's why But now she's old enough to fend for herself. No, she's not.
What does she do?
She's an artist, and she doesn't like me to write about her, put pictures on the internet. She's very shy.
That's good. That's good. That's something to be respected.
Yeah, unfortunately, because I'd love to show her off, but she's like, no.
Well, hey, that's you're in the limelight, and that should be enough, I guess.
Yeah, and I attract enough freaks. I don't want them bothering her.
Yeah. Oh, Dot, you did Lemmy. You worked on Lemmy from Motorhead, right?
Yeah, I've massaged Lemmy. In fact, he told me that was the only massage he's ever had.
Wow.
And Gene Simmons too. He said this is the first and last time I'm ever getting a massage. He doesn't get massage from anyone else. So I feel really special about that.
Well, you should, because not only are you talented, but you have a great demand from very, very famous people, and they want only the best. So you must know what you're doing. You've been doing this a long time now.
I've been massaging since I'm like 5. But I've been massaging rock stars since I'm like 14 and a half.
That's amazing.
With Def Leppard, the first band.
That is amazing.
And they're still our client.
Wow. Now, Dot, we do this show once a month, and we would love to have you be our advice person for next month. Would you come back and visit with us again?
Sure, I'll be your monthly friend.
Oh, man. Wow, and she kept that one clean. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, you're the best.
Yeah, you can. If anyone wants me to answer a question next month, they can email you guys or whatever.
Yeah, and also let's plug your website too, so that people can get in touch with you or find out about what you're doing, or even use your services.
Okay, it's just drdot.com. If they just Google me, if they Google Dr. Dot, they'll find me.
I love your photo gallery because, yes, I'm a male, and you are scrumptious.
Well, let's get something straight. There's no hot photo gallery on the Dr. Dot massage website.
No.
I have the other website for the juicy photos called puredrdot.com.
I'm going to write that down.
I need to write this one down.
Okay, Richie's writing it down, too. You have 2 big fans here, Dot.
Oh, that's sweet.
And we love you. And we'll talk to you again next month.
All right, I'll see you then.
Okay.
I'll talk to you then.
That's Dr. Dot right
Okay,
there, our
so
first original
music
guest.
is the best.
Yes.
Rock on.
Rock on, baby. Dr. Dot right there, our first guest from a year ago. And now
What goes around comes around.
That's right. Our future advice column right there, Richie. Let's take him up the river a little further, shall we?
Here we go.
Oh, that's an interesting sound. And that was Umbilical, done by Mazzy Star. And the lead singer's name is, Richie?
Hope Sandoval.
Hope
I believe.
Sandoval. Mazzy Star, Umbilical. That was a trippy little number. And it's Rush Hour with Mr. Chris Rush, our resident in-house pontificator and madman and genius. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, Rizzy, and that was a wonderful definition.
Yeah.
And I also am trying to do purposeful and benevolent aggravation.
Purposeful and benevolent aggravation sounds like stand-up comedy to me.
Or a politician.
Yeah, well, I just put the TV on about an hour ago, and I saw a guy talking about Wall Street. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
The numbers, they're incomprehensible. Wall Street paid out $144 billion in bonuses, a record. This is guillotine time. Although I think that is crude and cruel, what we could do is run an invisible laser beam across the hall of a major banking agency and just hit the fire alarm, watch them run. And then later, as the heads bounce, we should catch them like goalies. Because they're really starting to piss me off. Good people are boiling out tablecloth stains to make soap. And soup. And these fat, doughy, spoiled bankers are making bonuses?
Oh, that
Why
is...
do they make bonuses? They make $1 million salaries and then 140. But what the hell is going on? Have we become, I read your little bullet point thing. Have we become, as a nation, so numbed by so much information and bad food that we just don't react? Because if you got to tell me, man, and if in 1920 you heard that they were making $140 billion, and they would attack the banks with broken bottles. We just sit around getting fat. You're really upsetting. Hand me those nacho hot-stopping bacon bits, will you? And now the kids, 48% of our kids are now officially medically obese.
Yes.
Well, you ever hear of verge thinking, where two ideas verge and something new comes out? Well, a bunch of billionaires want to have what they call wildlife migratory routes across the planet, including for predators. I think if we could get some of those predators to go by schoolyards, the little fat kids would dwindle. The athletic ones make it up the tree, but little fat Bremer, he didn't make it. There's nothing like watching a lion pass a yo-yo.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Man, it's just, they're fat and they're dumb. What can I say? I love them, but they're fat and they're dumb.
Yes. Now,
but I love them.
But
and they're on pills.
Yes.
Daddy, can I have an antidepressant? They call me fat and dumb, so I need a pill. My God. What you need is a knife. Fend for yourself, son. Kill the kid for his candy.
Oh, Chris, now, what is your take on the antidepressants? Do you think that anybody is in need of them at all?
Well, I don't need it. Whenever someone calls me who's massively depressed, I just tell them, take 4 quarts of New York City water, boil it down to 1, and drink it. Because there's so much stuff in our water, antidepressants, antispasms. You can't even have a good spasm anymore. I mean, they're antispasmodic drugs. Suppose you want a spasm. Suppose you want an orgastic spasm. Instead, you just lay there like a wasp dressed in tweed going, that was fine. And by the way, it's not just Wall Street. It's not just the church. It's science, too. And remember, I'm an ex-scientist.
Yes.
I guess there's a kind of a rule that the bullet points kind of hint at.
Yes.
Any belief system that becomes a mainstay, something that's been around a while, becomes rigid and the enemy of all change. Here's a for instance. At Princeton University and Maimonides Hospital, these are old experiments they did a long time ago. They got a bunch of college kids together, and they got them to focus on changing a random number generator, okay?
By focusing? By focusing?
Yeah, by focusing their thought on making it, a random number generator come out more zeros or ones or whatever the hell it was. In other words, a computer that randomly generates numbers, and they said, like, everybody will want more even numbers now, even though it's totally random. And they got 100% proof that the human mind, especially in math, like a bunch of college kids, can change physical reality, at least on the microelectronic level. And they published their papers. Do you hear anything about it on the news? Regular establishment scientists don't want to touch it, but listen to the odds of the experiments coming out by accident. 100 million billion to 1 that it was an accident. That's about the same odds of a flock of geese flying out of your butt. So I mean, and yet the science, you don't hear anything from the establishment people. They're too busy making new anal ointment that also makes you taller and gives you a large penis and a Buick.
Buick.
You know, it's just... And hey, did you hear about last week? You guys are we're on radio right now. Did you hear about the radio experiments with the human brain?
No, I have not.
Well, we all knew that the human brain generates microelectric, current. And every time you generate electrical current, there's a magnetic field that goes with it, perpendicular to it. And we thought that's what we were reading. Now we find out it's radio waves. Each one of our brains sends out radio waves. We're all little radio stations. WYLU, coming you from the Intergalactic Interdimensional Network. You're on.
You mean to say that we are transistors?
No, we are transmitters.
Transmitters?
Yeah, we transmit radio waves. I also happen to think we receive consciousness in our brains rather than generate it from our brain. I mean, I don't think all my memories are stored in my brain. I think they're stored in a field that I can access because of my special DNA characteristics, which happened when I got reincarnated into this Italian body. But we also
I'm sorry. You mean to say that there's an external hard drive that you're retrieving your memories from?
Yeah, I don't like to think of it in inorganic terms like an external hard drive.
Okay.
Let's think of it in soft, cool terms like the Ashian records. Here's what I think. I think there's a matrix of consciousness that all living things contribute to.
Okay.
And draw from.
Okay.
Sheldrake, the British guy that did the experiment with the rats, you know about that?
Fill me in.
He built a maze and he made rats run through it. These are refined rats that have been to Harvard. You know, they're not New York rats. You tell a New York City subway rat to run a maze, he goes, yeah, run this. You know. These rats are refined, and they took a bunch of them and they made them run a maze in London, England.
Okay.
When they took the same type of rat, after a certain amount, let's say 500 rats learned to run the maze in England, as soon as a certain amount learned to run it, the same maze gets run by rats in New York in half the time. So either the proof is that there's morphic fields of consciousness energy shared by animals that have similar DNA. Either you got to believe, so the New York City rats get a heads up on it. Either that, or you can believe the little rats in England have a cell phone and go, make a left at the red dot.
Right.
So it's either the tiny cell phone scenario or the fact that we share information in one giant ocean of consciousness.
Wow, that's an amazing...
And now scientists are proving it. Of course, they never admit it. They still haven't admitted that influencing by the mind is common. By the way, I noticed one of your bullet points was about how common seeing the future is.
Yes.
Well, I have been into this for a long time. They did experiments 8 years ago where they took, once again, college kids. They're cheaper than lab rats, and they work for a sandwich. And what they did is they put them in individual booths with the partitioning, and they put them in front of video monitors and showed a series of pleasant pictures. Golden grain waving in the breeze, flowers, watermelons, clouds. And then all of a sudden, something horrible. An amputated limb, a pile of bodies, Dick Cheney's ass under fluorescent lights, something horrible. And they found out, by hooking them up to basically lie detectors, an electroskin galvanometer, that the body hooked up to our brain knows about 5 to 10 seconds, sometimes as much as 20 seconds, before the bummer comes, the body tenses up. There's a bummer coming. And you kind of figure that's why we evolved that, because the caveman that didn't have that little knack, I think I'll go look in that bush. Well, they found his sandal in a pile of saber-tooth tiger poop.
Is that precognition, you mean?
Yeah, that's precognition. And it's a natural, everyday thing that we all do all the time. You talk about running the yellow light. I think that's a matter of pacing and timing, but we do share. In other words, look, let's be honest. Our little brains suck up consciousness and call it a mind and a personality, which is total artificial construct. Not that I don't like it. It's me on one level. But consciousness exists outside of time. Physics, regular high school physics, not fancy stuff with guys with, like huge heads that can work out Rubik's Cube across the room without touching it. Regular high school physics, they teach there's no such thing as linear time. There's no past, present, and future in the structure of time. Einstein called the linear time illusion a persistent delusion of the human mind. It all happens in one giant now, and consciousness exists outside of time and space. that means that you have precognition. All of that ESP precognition stuff that the establishment scientists who work for the various orifice ointment companies and big pharma, which will sell you anything, they don't want to recognize this because it enlarges the definition of humans, which means self-healing, self-happiness, etc. And they don't want that. They want to sell you stuff. And if it wasn't for the government working to some degree, they wouldn't even tell you about the side effects of stuff. You know, I'm old enough to remember before there were pharmaceutical commercials on television for prescription medicine.
It seems like that's all there is on television
You
now.
got it, man. It's replaced car commercials. There's thousands of them. And you don't have to be a comedian, and exaggerate. I saw one of their drawbacks. Your eye falls out, your spine collapses, you burst into flame, and your children die. However, that athlete's foot is gone. Let me get rid of this frog. Apparently, I'm allergic to Earth's gravitational field. So
it could be some radio wave coming into you right now that's
Hey,
causing...
look, man, I'm not kidding. You're putting out, besides the radio broadcast that you're doing on the actual radio,
Yes.
Johnny Rizzo's brain is sending out readable radio waves. It's doing something else, too.
What's
you know
that?
how E.T. held his finger out and it glowed, right? And he made the flower come back to life?
I thought he was trying to check the direction of the wind.
Yeah, but it glowed.
Yes, it did glow.
All right. Now, what I'm telling you is scientists have detected and proven beyond a doubt that the human body emits light 1,000 times weaker than you can detect with the human eye. But we give off light. We give off light in radio shows. We're like, we're like a mixed media show event. And certainly we share all of this stuff, and maybe that's why we have this connective stuff that they try to break up and enforce the separation between us in various ways so that they can control us,
I'm always amazed by the firefly itself. That's the only insect that actually has a light.
Well, that's just chemiluminescent. Someone told me that they have a little switch to put it on. Obviously, they got their scientific training, like most Americans, from cartoons. No, that light's always on. They cover it with a second set of wings, and they do it basically to get laid, to mate. They're flashing. So here I am. I'm wearing canoe. Here I am.
Yeah.
And they go to firefly discos and stuff like that. They want to meet each other. It's basically a mating thing. And but that doesn't amaze me as much as the human body giving off light, because that leads to metaphysical realms where we're supposed to be constructed of light. We're beings of light.
What's going on with this hydrogen collider, Chris?
As far as I know, it keeps breaking down every time they're trying to do something interesting.
What are they trying to do, Chris?
What they're trying to do, and I agree with the futility of this. Look, they've known this for a long time. Everything in the universe is not particles. There's no smallest particle. There's nothing in the universe, in the whole universe, except energy and information. They're trying to smash stuff together and find the God particle, the Bose-Einstein particle, which is the missing link between pure energy and the beginning of matter. They're going to be disappointed because it's illusionary. Remember, these boys are into illusion. Who do you think discovered the neutrino? An Italian guy. Hey, what is that? The neutrino. If it was a wasp, it would have been a Buffy. Oh, that's definitely a Buffy.
So
what it is, they use mathematical... Dark matter. Do you think dark matter actually exists?
I don't know.
I think it's somebody cheating on a test. None of these equations work out, Phil. What can we do? Throw in this D called DM, dark matter. Dark matter will balance everything.
So the hydrogen collider is making two, in layman's terms, in very simple terms, smashing two things together to make a big...
They're taking a proton and a neutron.
And a neutron.
Accelerating them to the speed of light and having them collide. It's kind of like crazy cars, but at an incredible speed. And when they hit on the energies that are inconceivable to our minds, they create conditions mimicking the very beginning of the birth of our universe.
So couldn't they very well destroy our universe by monkeying?
No, I don't believe in the little black holes just eating us up. They only last like a zillionth of a second, and they're smaller than an electron. Okay? This is like worrying about a gnat when you're in the middle of a firefight with the Viet Cong. It's just not going to happen. However, reality is a fluid thing and controlled totally in our tribe. I like to call our culture our tribe.
Yes.
Because culture sounds too high class.
Yes.
We live in a tribal culture that is totally into BS. Here, I'll give you an idea. I put the TV on. A truck, a truck that carries cattle, and it has slats and you can see the cows in between, right?
Yes.
Well, it had an accident and was hanging off an overpass. It was hanging precariously off an overpass. And one of the cows, well, they all slid, but one of them broke through the wooden slats, and his two back legs are hanging out. And the news commentating lady, pretty, of course, says, and now rescue efforts are going to get that thing up. You watch, that cow will be saved. And that's it, hooray. They all clapped. They saved the cow. For his trip to the slaughterhouse. It wasn't like they were bringing him to Disney World. I don't even think it was an accident. I think the cows grabbed the driver and covered his eyes and tried to make a break for it. I mean,
that's
come
amazing.
on. People don't even put together the concept of slaughter and meat. Ask a 20-year-old, urban, where does he get meat from? He goes, aisle 4.
Yeah.
It wasn't a living, breathing thing. And now the most frightening thing. I eat meat, but I try to eat the dumbest meat possible.
Uh-huh.
I'll never eat a dolphin. They're smart.
Right.
They're at least as smart as us. They masturbate and have no arms. I can't do that.
Right.
I mean, even on a dare.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I've given various spongy plants in my room. I just can't do it. But dolphins do. I think they have a special mud spot.
This is the great mind of Chris Rush. Chris, we're almost out of time.
I got to give my plug before my lady shoots me in the back of the head.
Plug away, sir.
ChrisRushComedy.com.
Yes, sir.
Or YouTube.com/Chris Rush Comedy or Facebook.com Chris Rush Comedy. You'll get a lot of funny stuff. I put some really weird, good stuff on YouTube that is really, it's new and it's good. Also, my book, Milking the Rhino, is available from Amazon and on iTunes also. There's all my plugs.
Beautiful, Chris. Will you come back and see us again next month?
I certainly will.
That's the wonderful mind of Chris Mush, the hydrogen lighter.
Gravity accident.
Mr. Mush to you.
Chris Rush, thank you so much for being here with us, man.
My pleasure, man.
Okay.
Bye.
Que vibra y no para de sazonar, viento metal que grita como el aire en humedad, trompetazos que van y van, gran sonido una vez más para escuchar. Así te veo, decadente melodía de jazz, tan pura como el viejo mar. Esa canción que mi mente no para de revolear, aquella flauta que como mi vida no deja de cambiar. Así te veo, jazz, como lo más paralelo a mi arte. Aunque con el tiempo colega tuyo me he hecho, jamás dejaré de adorarte. Eres quien me garantiza un vuelo al cielo, con esa descontrolada ráfaga de notas que van a la alegría, pero sutilmente a la locura. Jazz, como el mismo que desnuda mi alma y me pone a disfrutar. mucha gente no te quiere, pobres ignorantes que no lo entienden. Pues yo te creo, jazz, en ese mensaje tan elegante, en esa inspiración que siento al escucharte, esa que en este momento puedo regalarte, plasmada en este papel hecho arte. Jazz, te vivo con intensidad, como si fueras un sentimiento, como ese irrumpente saxofón que dijo basta y de repente empezó a improvisar. Camino con mucha fuerza, vivo y muero, en cada nota que sale de tu andar, en cada estruendoso cambio de tonalidad, en lo rápido que puede ser, que como anonadado me podrías dejar, tan elegante pero a la vez tan bestial. Revientas ese rey. Dosificas ese do. Pero tu espléndido sonido como el sol siempre me deja sin desazón. Siempre estás allí, a veces sutil, a veces fuerte, pero te entiendo que siempre feliz quieres verme. Falaciamente creo en los demás que no dejan su mal pregonar. Eso no me va a engañar. Veo después a otra gente que no te adora, pero que al menos se digna respetarte. Me veo a mí y presiento que más que música te has vuelto, como aquel juguete de ensueño, como la expresión más caribe en todo momento.
Oh
mi alma se amarga, no pongo la cara larga. Solo en ti pienso, en la delicia que revienta ese karma. Jazz que me inspira con esa sabrosura de calma, pero a la vez con el son, el ritmo y el eterno sabor que vive en los más profundos latidos de mi corazón. Eso quiero que siempre hagas para que jamás acabe este gran amor.
Vive jazz, vive jazz, vive jazz, ven a gozar. Vive jazz, vive jazz, esa es mi linda mulata. Vive jazz, ella es hermosa y sublime. Vive jazz, oye qué rico se puso. Vive jazz, mi guido es para gozar. Vive jazz, guaguancó colombiale. Vive jazz, guaguancó palomares va. Vive jazz, oye mi bella morena. Linda caliente como el sol. Vive jazz, ay mi bella, pero la tipa me lleva. Vive jazz, yo soy rumberito sincero. No sabe nada. Sonido y leño tocando. Pedrito Martínez cantando. Mi China no voy a parar. Si no sabes no te metas. La rumba es para los timberos. La clave no se enseña un co. La clave nace contigo. Oye, la rumba me lleva. Saludos para todos los timberos de Cuba y de Nueva York. Oye, la timba se puso brava. Timbero, mi timba no es como ayer. Si no sabes no te metas. Oye, yo sigo guarachando. Mi negra ven a gozar. La rumba viene de nuevo. Hasta mañana por la madrugada. Oye, qué rico se puso el guiro.
Movies with the number 12 or its variations in their titles include 12 Angry Men, Cheaper by the Dozen, Ocean's 12, 12 Monkeys, The Dirty Dozen, 12 Rounds. The number 12 plays a significant role in the television franchise Battlestar Galactica. The characters come from the 12 colonies of Kobol and worship the 12 lords of Kobol. In the reimagined series, there are also 12 models of the humanoid version of Cylons. Number 12 Looks Just Like You is an episode of the television show The Twilight Zone. Schoolhouse Rock portrayed an alien child using base 12 arithmetic in the short Little 12 Toes. 12-Ounce Mouse was an animated television show on Adult Swim. In theater, William Shakespeare had a comedy called Twelfth Night. In literature, Paradise Lost is an epic poem by John Milton. It is divided into 12 books, perhaps in imitation of the Aeneid. In music, 12 is the number of pitch classes in an octave. The 12-tone technique is a method of musical composition devised by Arnold Schoenberg. Music using the technique is called 12-tone music. The 12-inch single is a vinyl record format. This is show number 12. 12th Night is a progressive rock band. 12 Play is an R. Kelly album. 12 Deadly Sins and Then Some is an album by Cyndi Lauper. There are normally 12 pairs of ribs in the human body. This is show number 12. Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. According to UFO conspiracy theory, Majestic 12 is a secret committee allegedly set up by U.S. President Harry S. Truman to investigate the Roswell UFO incident and cover up future extraterrestrial contact. In a deck of cards, there are 12 face cards. According to some testimonies, there would be on the planet 12 rich families which would be at the base of a secret government. Their only goal would be to direct and to enslave the whole world by the power of money. This government would have a seizure on United Nations, the military, the agencies of information, the World Bank, and of any tool making it possible to make and to act as they want, according to other sources. This secret government would be rather a meeting of multinational and 13 rich families. Some authors see, even in this secret government, an analogy with the beast of the Revelation. The 12 gates of the human body of the man: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, 2 breasts, the navel, the anus, and the penis. The human cell has 12 biochemical salts. And this is show number 12 of Esoterica.
We're back. You're listening to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. Johnny's painting the hallway. He'll be back in just a second. And just to let you know, this is WPKN 89.5 FM in Bridgeport, and you can also listen online at WPKN.org. We heard Johnny doing a little bit of show 12 trivia, since this is show number 12. Throw Johnny's mic on here. And before that, we heard Vive Jazz, which is a really hip song with some Spanish rapping in it, and the artist is Sonido Isleno.
That was really good, Richie.
Can you say Isleno?
Isleno.
There, you said it.
I could say flan.
Flan. Flan.
Hey. Well, welcome back to me and to you, Richie, for letting me grab that quick cup of tea.
I told them you were painting the hall.
Well, I was painting the hall while I was making a cup of tea.
Yeah, whatever.
I got my turpentine mixed up with my tea. Anyway, by the way, our next guest is really interesting because the world in which he inhabits is a very strange one indeed. One that I, as a child, was raised in, working in carnivals and being exposed to sideshows and the like. But not only is he associated with that world, but he was also a broadcaster, and he's done a little bit of producing and directing and just about everything, a jack of all trades. Let's hear it for Mr. Doug Higley. How you doing, Doug? Good to be here with you on Esoterica.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad.
I'm thinking I'm on Coast to Coast with George Noory.
Oh, are you?
What the hell was this with Rush? I mean, he was taking us out into the
Yeah, he goes there deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then you play that music before me. I could hear all 5 of my fans going, WTF.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for cleaning that up.
That's what we strive for.
That's what we strive for.
I have grandchildren listening, so.
That's awesome. Doug, I was really amazed when I got to chat with you on the phone a few times. I found out about you strictly through your exhibits. But then as we got to speak, I said, wow, this guy has a great radio voice. And then you floored me by telling me how many years you were in radio yourself and all the great stars that you interviewed over the years. Some of the really, truly great stars, not the ones that they have pre-manufactured today.
All of them but Larry Storch. He was terrific. That was really good. You did a good job.
Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
It was fun because as you went on, he was getting into it.
Yes, he was revving up.
Don't stop.
Yeah, he does get warmed up as he gets going.
Oh, it was good. It was good. In fact, I've already gotten messages on my Facebook how much people like that. So
I'm glad. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I hate saying awesome. I did it again. No more
awesome. At least you
awesomes.
didn't say wonderful.
Yeah,
absolutely. Don't say absolutely.
Yeah, it's another one. I had a problem with the last show. I think I said wonderful 15 times.
17 in 1 hour.
17.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I won't say really or wow.
Great.
Cool.
But schmuck, I like schmuck. Schmuck we can use.
Schmuck is great.
Great. Yeah. Doug, before we touch into the sideshow exhibits that you create, tell us a little bit about how you stumbled into broadcasting.
Stumbled in, yeah, that's pretty. I was doing an escape act in San Francisco, and that sucked. That wasn't very good. So, because it was the mob and they liked me, they put me on the door, and I was working outside of a club in North Beach, San Francisco. And a guy walks by with this thick, and I won't do it because I don't do a very good Australian accent, but very thick Australian accent and tells me, you have a wonderful voice, but you need to get rid of that stupid New York accent, which I had. And I'll hire you. And it was this guy, John Bailey, out of Sydney, Australia. So I took him at his word. I went to a broadcast school and immediately got offered a job in Anchorage, or actually Seward, Alaska. And that's how it started.
So you originally...
From a topless nightclub to radio.
Now, you mentioned New York. Are you originally from New York?
Born in Long Beach, California, but raised in New York, right across from Brooklyn, Staten Island. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, when you were raised in New York, to what age were you there?
18.
18. So, wow, you were just wow again.
And I got the hell out of there as quick as I could.
You got out of there fast, huh?
Yeah.
I
love it. I mean, I still think about it all the time, but it's a dump. What can I say?
Yeah. It's too congested. It's overpriced and it's dirty.
Yeah.
But aside from that,
one thing for me every year, and that's the parade, and that's coming on soon, and I'll be very happy. I'll see my parade. I'll eat my turkey, and I'll be, at one with the world.
When you were a young lad, did you think that you would aspire to be in any form of show business? Did you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I said it. I got it in there.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Well, it's the stupid things when you're a kid. I got a magic set from some guy on TV, and I thought, oh, this is cool. But it really wasn't, so that didn't. But I used to take newspaper clippings and read them into an old reel-to-reel tape recorder. And I thought as I grew up and went into the military and got out and then worked in factories and stuff that someday if I can only do the weather, or the farm report. And so I always had it in the back of my mind that that's what I wanted to do. I got into magic about 1964, I guess, and did magic and illusions and all that nonsense.
It's true, isn't it, that most magicians start around 8 years old?
Well, yeah, this is going to piss a lot of people off, but I think you get into magic when the first moment, and I'm serious, the first moment you realize you have no talent. I can't sing, I can't dance, I look like a schmuck, what am I going to do, So
yeah.
You get into magic because you just buy a trick, and, hey, this worked, and that guy liked it, and that girl liked it, wow. So you buy another trick, and you buy another trick, and pretty soon you're in for a couple of grand, and what else are you going to do?
So you started doing parties and all that, too?
Yeah. Oh, God. As a clown yet, with the whole clown makeup, the whole 9 years. But, yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Now,
these days, I still dabble. I make effects and props and stuff for magicians and mentalists.
That's interesting, too, because somebody has to create these illusions and build them and have the logistics and know how to assemble them in a way that is appealing and looks like it's death-defying and all that. I mean, there's a lot of thought in that.
Got it in again. Yeah, there's a lot of very genius-level engineers out there that do a lot of work for the David Copperfields and whatnot. There's some spectacular blueprints. If you can ever get a hold of any magic blueprints, they're incredible to look at.
What is your take on the Chris Angel, David Blaine?
I'd rather not. Enter into that one. Because I'm not qualified to even approach it. Right. I don't particularly care for Angel. But that's just, I'm not into that edgy stuff.
Right.
It's old news. I mean, God, come on.
Right.
That's the hairband days.
Yes.
Oh, I like new stuff.
What's your take
David
on...
Blaine, very talented guy. Kind of depressing, though.
Yes, yeah, maudlin, I would say, even.
Yeah.
I like the Lance Burton style.
Yeah, Lance Burton is pretty much, and I think I've never talked to him. He's on my Facebook and that, but I've never spoken to him. But I think he'd agree that he's kind of if you remember, a guy named Channing Pollock.
Oh
man, that was to me, that was the ultimate magician. That guy was just beyond And
Yes.
and Lance pretty much is in that mold.
I'm glad you
Handsome,
mentioned.
very well dressed.
Yeah.
Dignity. I like Dignity. I think Dignity's good. That's why I make Shrunken Heads and crap like that. 'Cause
Right. You mentioned Channing Pollock, and not too many people know that Channing Pollock had a film career too because of his. He was stunning.
Yeah, he was in Bonanza, I think, but he did some stuff in Italy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was the creator of the Bird Act. Well, maybe not the creator. He was the man who made it popular, I should say.
Sure, I guess I'll give him credit for anything he wants. I don't care.
With the doves coming out of the handkerchiefs.
I did a dove act too, but that was in the '60s.
And doves are very stupid birds, right? They just let you.
They're calm. Yeah, they're stupid. That's a good word.
Yeah.
They're very calm. I mean, yeah, you do whatever you want with them.
Yeah. They're easy to load, as they say in magic terms.
Yeah. But they're noisy, because they're always mating, or at least trying to. So
right.
The males are always doing their call, and the females they have like a little giggle.
Yeah.
And that goes on all the time. It never stops.
Now, you went from magic, and then what did you do after magic in your career?
Like I said, I went out to San Francisco, did the escape thing, then went to
radio,
Alaska, into broadcasting.
Now,
and then stumbled into sideshow stuff just by accident.
How did that happen? I'm really curious about that.
I read an ad in a magazine or something from Peter Hennon, who was really big into sideshows back in the whenever. And I think this was about 70 or 71 when I did. And I bought it. I just wanted it. I bought a two-headed pig in a jar from the guy. And at the TV station, I had my own TV show and stuff for a while. It was a big deal made on the news. And I named him Hogzilla, and there was news items. Hogzilla is now crossing the border, because he was trucked up. And, and so then there was a circus came in, and I was wrestling a tiger with the circus.
Wrestling a tiger. Hold on now. Wrestling?
Yeah, just as a favor for it, yeah. It was Gene Holter's Wild Animals show along with Parley Bear. Parley Bear's an old actor, you might remember. His wife was an aerialist, and they had an aerial circus. So anyway, they were there, and so I was on the air on a station, and I put the little two-headed pig in the sideshow just to see if it would make any money, just for the fun of it.
Was that was a jarred specimen?
Yeah.
That would be a piglet, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And I painted the whole front with the little pig eating the buildings, like he was attacking New York. Hogzilla. When people give you the buck, and I go, what? So, the whole sense of humor is involved in some of these grind shows, too, and it's
would that,
like that.
In a grind show, could you define to the listeners what the meaning of grind show is?
There's a few meanings. Like, I guess there's a few meanings in jihad,
Mm-hmm.
BS. A few meanings to grind. Basically, it's you grind them in, you grind them out.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be used in the term of the tape. There's a little tape that plays, come on in, see the show, blah, blah, blah. That loops over and over and over, and that's called the grind tape.
Did you ever make a grind tape?
Oh, many times, sure. I'm out there somewhere. Yeah, somebody's playing them. I also do, currently I do, the only voice work I did a lot of, voices and stuff, cartoon-type voices, not for cartoons, but for commercials. And the only voice currently that I do is for performers.
I see.
Performers that are doing magic acts or whatever, all do their offstage announcing.
That's interesting. The radio led into you stumbling into the sideshow and the wrestling the tiger is still just the image of that. How do you
have the image I got?
Yeah, how old were you?
God.
What age were you when you wrestled this?
I don't know, 71 or 70, whatever it was.
Uh huh.
I was born in 1942,
so you
figure it out. I don't.
How do you learn? How do you learn to wrestle a tiger?
The guy tells you, you stand here. I have the tiger on a leash.
Mm-hmm.
You run that way. the only thing they teach you, you don't really wrestle. The only thing they teach you, and it's a lesson well learned, is when the tiger catches up to you, do not give any resistance. So you're not really wrestling.
Right.
You're connecting with your life, as it passes by. The tiger will trip you or whatever. And in this case, this particular cat, he was huge. He would run and then trip you, throw a paw under your legs, knock you on your ass, and then bite somewhere. He'd come down and just,
It's a hold, right?
At all, the tiger would close his jaws a little bit. Resist a little more, he makes it a little tighter. Resist a little more, he makes it a little tighter. So you have to not resist. And then the guy pulls the chain and he's off.
Wow,
and the audience goes, "Wow."
That takes a certain kind of fortitude.
The fortitude comes the second time you do it.
Yeah, would it be stupidity the first time?
The first time you're just stupid. And he knocked me, and fortunately or unfortunately, I know how to fall for various reasons, but I fell so that I was now on my back, not on, just fell on my head. I twisted and fell. And what I got from this cat was, just imagine a 500-pound Bengal about 6 inches from your face letting out a full roar. And that was about it.
And I'm sure that roar was pretty loud, that close to you.
Oh, yeah. My alternative, though, was being an idiot and letting the guy down, because my alternative was racing the camels. And I chose the tiger. Because I'd raced the camels a little bit earlier that day, and that was only once. It was enough for that.
Well, I'll tell you,
it hurt.
What do you think has led to the demise of the sideshow in America today?
Do-gooders.
I have to agree with that.
Politically correct idiots.
Yes.
They just don't understand what, I mean, it's fun. To me, I don't do sideshow acts at all. I mean, I have a lot of friends that do, and some of them are listening right now. So I have so much respect for these guys that go out there and do this stuff, swallow swords and whatnot. I don't do any of that.
No.
All I did was a little, I'd make dopey little things and little mermaids and stuff, and then show them, in the grind show.
Well, I think you're not giving yourself enough credit, because your exhibits are spot on and probably possibly the best in the business. And I've seen plenty, and
thank you.
And I've had firsthand experience looking at them and working in that business. And like you said, some of these guys. I read about in an interview where you said a lot of these guys were unscrupulous and they put crap out there.
Well, that was the old. Not lately. I don't think lately. There's a couple of punks that go on eBay maybe and sell stuff, but mostly the shows today are pretty well done. And when I got into it, the grind show was almost dead. There wasn't too much of it going on. And I came up with a new way of doing it, and a way to show it, and a way to respect your customer. And the way I looked at it, and I still do, I mean, nothing's changed. It's like I always wanted to make movies. I've been around movie people, and I know movies top to bottom. I've been in a couple of, as an extra and whatnot, but I love movies. And I always looked at the sideshow. I couldn't afford to make my own movie, but I could do this. And I look at it as like a little movie, a little sci-fi movie, where there's a little bit of mystery, a little that. The person pays their admission. They look, they see the dopey little creature in there, and they go, ooh, and they don't know what it is, and they leave, and they're happy. So it's my little sci-fi movie. That's basically what it is. No more than that.
That is a good analogy.
And as far as, well, it's fake, yeah, but so is the creature from the Black Lagoon. You don't see Universal putting on a poster, oh, wait a minute, before you come in, the monster is rubber with a guy in it.
Right. Yeah.
So why disturb the mystery and so they have fun. We've never had a complaint, not one, in many, many years. And the hundreds of them that got out there. We just did. You hear about the car promotion?
Oh, no.
Some of your listeners may have run into it. There were 42 of my little exhibits out across the country.
The car shows, yes.
Yeah, 42 car dealers. Happened over the Halloween season to find, when they got a trade-in, they opened the trunk, and there was this, Lord knows. So they did the Monster in the Trunk promotion.
A what is it?
Yeah, what is it? And it went very well. They sold thousands of cars.
Speaking
and a few of them broke records, which was really satisfying to me. That my silly stuff, helped the economy somewhat.
Speaking of business, you wrote what is considered by most exhibitors of exhibits, which is Doug's term that he coined for exhibits, the book on how to promote and do the pitch.
Yeah, how to do the sideshow, mostly for flea markets and stuff. I don't say that, go to a big fair and do this, because my way is different from the big fairs. And, they still work with big giant banners and color and all that. I just came up with a different way of doing it.
Is there any, how can I get a copy of this book? I'd love to check it out.
Go to grindshow.com, that's it.
That's it. And at grindshow.com, we can also purchase...
Anything can happen there.
Yes.
There's other books, too. There's a book I wrote on dark rides. And
I love dark rides.
It's a science fiction book, and there's... the one that I'm really proud of is Museum Mysteria, which is a photo book of a lot of my things, not all of them, but a lot of things. And with 3D glasses and 3D pictures I did, and that one is so much fun because it doesn't lead anybody anywhere except WTF, what?
Yeah.
Doesn't give it away, and so you can leave it out on a coffee table, and any guest that comes over will pick it up and go, WTF.
Exactly.
That's a fun thing.
Have you noticed that with the PC police out there that a lot of the dark rides have made them like fun little cute rides by repainting the banners and everything inside the dark ride?
That's not... Okay. Well, I wouldn't... I like the haunt stuff.
Yeah.
The haunt that's going on at Knott's Berry and Universal and all these places. Really adult. But I wrote something in my dark ride book, which is what I didn't like about a lot of the things was the really gross, the torture and the blood and all this other crap.
Right.
And I said something in the book which kind of stuck with me after I wrote it. I went, that's about right. Is in a dark ride or any kind of haunt, the blood should run cold, not freely. And you don't scare people by grossing them out. On the other hand, it's a lot of fun too, and Universal does it, and Knott's Berry does it. What I like about the new trend is it's open to families.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, if they're smart, they are changing their look a little bit. Because if you have a group of punks walk by, and I don't mean that derogatory, a punk to me is anybody under 18.
Yeah.
That's the old term.
Not a...
And a bunch of teenagers walk by, they're going to go in. But if you have a family walk by, they're not going to go in.
Right.
So you repaint the banner. Guess what you just did? You just picked up another couple of grand that day.
Mm-hmm.
So for a business-wise, it works.
I like your take on exhibits and flea markets and painting the question mark on the creature's box to pink. Can you elaborate on that a little?
That was one of the operators got a hold of me that was doing one of these shows, and he said, I only had the pink paint, and I painted it pink, and it doubled my female customers.
Interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's just some little subtle psychological thing going on there.
And you said that most people in the flea market are looking for a $5 spoon.
They're looking for a 50-cent spoon.
50-cent spoon, so you don't
not
charge...
a show or anything, they just want to... So you don't want to present some big museum of, look, I'm the greatest curator in the world. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about that crap. They're at a flea market to buy a spoon. So the way we set up and the way I set this up is completely the opposite.
Your shrunken heads are incredible. And on your website, there's a letter from an Ecuadorian curator of museum that actually has real shrunken heads.
He liked them when I did. Isn't that funny?
That's something. Now,
I find this stuff bizarre. I mean, that's what I find bizarre, when people, they make up. My stuff was over in the UK, and the Royal Tour. You read about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's the biggest mind blower to me.
Have you heard about this, Richie? The Royal Tour.
No.
I mean, I had 6 exhibits,
Check
7
this out.
exhibits. That a guy named Condini. He's an escape artist and just a terrific performer.
Uh-huh.
Old school, man. Old school circus sideshow.
Yeah.
And he was showing one of my mermaids.
That would be a Fiji mermaid to the listeners.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, but we don't call him that. I don't,
Yeah.
Fiji mermaid is a monkey head sewn to a fish, and whatever. I don't do that.
Right.
But so he's showing one of the mermaids, and these 2 guys come by in black suits and the whole thing, give him a business card, and say, "We'll contact you tomorrow." I was like, "Ooh, that's scary."
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, here comes the representative from the Royals who wanted to know if he could get more of these things. And he said, yeah. And he got a hold of me. And I said, yeah, I'll make you. So I made him a bunch of stuff. And
we're talking about the royal family.
yeah. And this went on from April 1st. It started on April Fool's Day, of all days, and went through December in 2006. And it appeared, my dopey, silly little exhibits appeared with a red carpet and limos and all that stuff in Buckingham Palace and all the way across the UK, all of the big homes, including the place where they filmed Harry Potter, Oxford, Cambridge University, Ascot, for the Admiralty. I mean, it was just mind-numbing to me that this could even happen.
And
what
one of the
was for a charity, which I still I promised I wouldn't release it, but let's just say, not the Queen and not the guy she's married to, but one of her. But anyway, another one, who sometimes they call Chuck.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, and when it was one of his kids, either William or Harry, who had seen the mermaid the day before, and told him, "Dad, we can make some money for the charity." So basically, it was them that put it on, and it cost. I mean, this is over here. It'll cost you 50 cents to $1 to go in and look at one of my dopey things sitting there on a table, right?
Right.
Over there, it was 93 pounds. That's almost $200 a head.
Incredible.
Yeah, so they made a fortune off of it for the charity, and that was good. And they all went to the charity.
Wasn't one of the royals busking? Or
well, they all were.
But one of them was doing the spiel.
Let's see. The first one was Lady. What was her name? I think it was Lady Barbara. Was it Barbara? But anyway, she was the offspring of William Wallace, Braveheart. And it started. That was the first venue. It started at that castle, and she was the one that went out and did the ballet. She was like 86 years old.
That's
amazing. She was the one that
went
out. Hi, folks, come on in and see the, And each one of them had somebody of note do the ballet each time it appeared. I know Winston Churchill, his grandson, did it, and there was a couple others. I know Madonna paid to get in, all the big sports stars. And my big thing was when he called me and he said, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said, "Yesterday was the Queen's birthday, and I was asked to leave the room, and 7 people came in, and it was the Queen for her birthday. One of my mermaids appeared there as a special thing for her birthday." So, is that weird or what?
That's really weird. But it's the Doug Higley world is full of weird wonder.
Yeah, and I'm so normal. I mean, kind of normal. We have a nice little place we live in. I don't have weird stuff around the house. I have a museum in the house, but it's all pottery and ancient artifacts and things, So.
That's interesting, too, that you like artifacts and all that. You also are a trained art student, am I right?
Not trained, no.
Well, or you did go to art school, I mean.
No, never.
No, never? Self-taught?
No. I didn't hardly go to school. Talk about somebody who hated school. That was me.
Oh, wow.
I graduated high school, but not on purpose. I was there. I think the last count was 45% of the time. I hated it. I just hated school.
Richie's giving me the big wrap up the interview sign. Doug, I want.
Anyway, there's a lot I wanted to tell you about those do-gooders and the sideshow people, but we'll do that another time.
Oh yeah, we'll have you back for sure.
Well, would you definitely come back and see us again and visit again?
Well, you only do this once a month. I'm surprised that you chose me in the first place.
Huh, I'm not surprised at all. Doug, can you give us a little reference where people could find you online?
Yeah, I'm just darkride.com. I'm Darkride. That's my old one. Grindshow.com.
Grindshow.com. Check out the wonderful work. This guy does a lot of self-deprecation. Don't let him fool you. His stuff is top of the line. I have to get a chupacabra. That's what I'm saving up. I'm saving up for a chupacabra, Doug, because that's really big here on the East Coast.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Doug.
Yeah, well, I'll be glad to talk to you. There's so much more to all this, but we got off track there, and I apologize.
That's not a problem. No apology necessary. Doug, please come back and see us here on Esoterica, and thanks for being with us.
Okay. And Rizzo's one of my favorite puppets, by the way.
Doug Higley, let's hear it for him. All right.
We can applaud.
We can applaud. That
Can't
was
hear the people at home applauding.
2 people clapping. That was great, man. What an interesting guy.
Sure is.
Oh, by the way, for those of you that don't know who died, it's time for people who died, because the newspapers don't do it anymore, Richie. No one knows who's passed away anymore.
No, it's amazing what gets by us.
Tom Bosley from Happy Days, that's right. Richie Cunningham's father passed away, 83 years old, of heart failure. Bob Guccione, the American publisher and founder of Penthouse Magazine, lung cancer, 79 years old. Alex Anderson, 90 years old. He was an American cartoonist, created characters for the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show and Crusader Rabbit. Donald Leffert, 59 years old, American science fiction actor. Leo Collins, 68, American cartoonist for The New Yorker, cancer. George Kane, 66, American author, kidney failure. Joseph Stein, 98, American playwright, Fiddler on the Roof, and Zorba the Greek. Sylvia Slay, 94, American painter, complications of a stroke. Lamont Johnson, 88, American actor and television director, The Twilight Zone, The Execution of Private Slovak. Did you ever see that? Great film. Martin Sheen, right? Martin Sheen, I believe?
Sheen.
That was great. Linda Hargrove, 61, American country singer and songwriter. Just Get Up and Close the Door. Complications from a bone marrow transplant. Mike Esposito, 83, American comic book artist. Billy Roone, 52, American concert promoter and manager, heart attack. Glenn Frosty Little, 84 years old, American circus performer known as Frosty the Clown. This guy was a legend, well, in my world. James Wall, 92, American actor, Captain Kangaroo, and stage manager after a very short illness. Denise Borino, 46, American actress from The Sopranos, liver cancer. She played the heavy-set woman that was Johnny Sax's wife. She wasn't a trained actress. She went with a friend to the auditions and got the part because they liked the way she looked. How's that for luck, huh? Where was I? Oh, yeah. Walter Payton Jr., 68, American jazz bass player and sousaphonist. Complications from a stroke. James MacArthur from Hawaii Five-0. 72, American actor, natural causes.
Wasn't his mother Helen Hayes?
Yes, it was. Robert Ellenstein, 87, American character actor. George Hickenlooper, 47, American documentary filmmaker, heart attack. Melvin Haisman, British writer of Doctor Who, the series Doctor Who, which has many incarnations. Arthur Bernard Lewis, 84, American television producer and writer of Dallas. Shannon Tavares, 11 years old, American child actress, The Lion King, poor girl, leukemia. Monica Johnson, 54, American novelist and screenwriter. He did Lost in America and Modern Romance, cancer. Eddie Hazel, 76, American jazz musician. He has also passed away. Julianne Hough, give someone a hug. 35, American reality show contestant, The Bachelorette, suicide.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's horrible. Jerry Bach, 81, American musical theater composer, Fiddler on the Roof. Heart failure, Eugenie Blanchard, 114 years old. She was a French supercentenarian. She was the world's oldest person, Richie, 114 years old. Michelle Nicosto, 50, American singer and actress from When Harry Met Sally, and voice actress from The Swan Princess, Jill Clayburgh.
Great actress.
Great actress. 66, American actress of An Unmarried Woman, Ally McBeal, Dirty Sexy Money, Chronic Leukemia. This leukemia's got to go, man. It's got to go. Frieda Schmidt, 110, German supercentenarian and oldest citizen, next to the 114-year-old Eugene Blanchard. Jack Levine, 95, American artist. Philip Carlo, 61, American crime author. Listen to this one. Niccolo Rizzuto, 86, Italian-born Canadian mafia leader of the Rizzuto crime family. Pow! Shot. What a shocker, huh?
Got him.
Dino De Laurentiis, 91, Italian Academy Award-winning film producer. And finally, Lee Harper, 65, American jazz trumpeter, heart attack. And folks, those of you that are thinking suicide is the way out, life's too short. Hang in there. You're going to croak anyway.
And you know what those guys have in common? They all died.
They all died. And don't forget, Tom Bosley, American actor of Happy Days. Man, Richie Cunningham's dad, man.
And I dig all you cats out there whipping and wailing and jumping up and down and sucking up that fine juice and patting each other on the back and telling each other who the greatest cat in the world is. Mr. Malenkov, Mr. Dalenkov, Mr. Eisenhower, Woosen, Meisen, Wooser, and Mr. Woodhill and Mr. Beachhill and Mr. Churchill and all them hills, they gonna get it straight. If they can't straighten it, they know a cat that knows a cat that's gonna get it straight. But I'm gonna put a cat on you was the sweetest, gonest, wailingest cat that ever stomped on this sweet swinging sphere. And they called this your cat the Naz. That was the cat's name. He was a carpenter kitty. Now the Naz was a kind of a cat that come on so wild and so sweet and so strong and so witted that when he laid it, wham, it stayed there. Naturally, all the rest of the cat looked to see what he putting down. There's a man, look at that cat blow. Let the cat go there, man. Look at, get out the way. Let the cat say, man, don't bug me. Get off my back. I'm trying to dig what the cat's saying. Jack said, cool. They're pushing the Naz because they want to dig his lick. You see, dig his miracle lick. So the Naz say, wait a minute, babies. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I ain't gonna take 2 for 680 you cats, but I'm gonna take 12 of you studs and straighten you all at the same time. You cats look like you pretty hip boys. You buddy with me. So the Naz and his buddies was goofing off down the boulevard one day, and they run into a little cat with a bent frame. So the Naz look at this little cat with a bent frame and he say, what's the matter with you, baby? And the little cat with the bent frame, he say, well, my frame is bent, Naz. It's been bent for me in front. So the Naz look at the little cat with the bent frame and he put the golden eyes of love on this here little kitty and he looked right down into the windows of his soul and he said to the little cat, he said, straighten it. Cat went up straighter than now, and everybody jumping up and down and say, look what the Naz put on that boy. You dug him before, dig him now. Yes, I can feel it. Now you see the Naz are coming on so strong and so fine and so great. Talking about when's he going to appear next. What did he do there? He put it down once for the cat. The cat dug it, didn't dig it. Put it down twice, dug it, didn't dig it. Put it down the third time, the cat dug it. Wham! Walked away with his eyes bugging out here and there, bumping into everybody. Naz coming on so fine and so strong. They put it on his coattail. They want him to sign the autograph. They want him to do this gig here. They want him to do that gig there. They want to make it the radio, the video, and all that jazz. He can't make all that jazz. Like I explained to the cat, the carpenter kid, he's got his own lick. But when he know he should show to blow and cannot go, because he got some strain on him, he sends a couple of these cats did his straightening. So came a little old 50-cent gig one day, and the Naz couldn't make it, so he put it on 2 of these cats. He said, boss, go straighten that little riff over there. Boss said, take it off your mind, Naz, we got it covered. So on the way over, the boss run into a little old 20-cent pool of water, and he gets right in the middle of the boat, and all of a sudden, blam, a thunderstorm, the lightning flashing and the thunder roaring, and the boat going up and down, and these poor cats thinking every minute gonna be the last, and one cat look up, and here come the Naz. Cool as anyone you ever see, right across the water, walking. And the Naz is a little boy on board. I think his name is Jude on board the boat. He say, "Hey, Naz, can I make it out there with you?" Naz say, "Make it, Jude." And old Jude went stomping off that boat, took about 4 steps, dropped his whole cotton. The Naz had to stash him back on board again. So the Naz look at these kiddies and he say, "What's the matter with you babies now?" I said, "What's going on here, boys?" I said, "What's taking place?" I said, "What's all this fuss about here? What's going on?" I said, "Man," I said, "what's going on?" I said, "Can't you see the storm and the lightning flashing and the thunder roaring?" And the Naz say, "I told you stay cool, didn't I, babies?" Now the fame of the Naz is jumping. The grapevine is shooting out sparks 40 feet long, and they're talking about what he said. And I stood up to all these big bad cats and dug all that bad jazz and put him all down. And what he said he's going to do and where he's going to be and how he's going to be it till the grapevine is jumping so bad. There is now 16,000 of these studs and kiddies in the Naz's little hometown where the cat lived, looking to get straight. Well, the Naz know he can't straighten them all. There's too small a place to want to hang everybody up. Nobody can make it. So the Naz look out at these 16,000 studs and kiddies and they say to them, "Come on, babies. Just cut on out down the road." And there went the Naz, swinging away ahead of all these studs and kiddies and 16,000, stomping up a big swinging beat behind him. And our great necklace of love is supercharging and charging to him. And oh, it's brother to brother and sister to sister. And the Naz is stomping out a sweet swinging beat, going down the road. And Naz talking about how pretty the flowers, how pretty the hours, how pretty me, how pretty you, how pretty he, how pretty she. Naz had them pretty eyes. He wanted everybody to see through his eyes so they could see how pretty it was. And they're having such a wailing, gorgeous Mardi Gras time that before you know it, it was scorpion time, and these poor cats is 42 miles out of town. Ain't nobody got the first biscuit. Well, the Naz look at these cats, and they say they're kicking the sand out there. The Naz say, "You hungry, ain't you, babies?" I say, "Yeah, Naz. We digging you so hard what you putting down that we didn't prepare, Naz. We goofed. Yes, that's what you call it." So the Naz say, "Well, we got to take it easier. We wouldn't want to go ahead and order up something you might not like, would we?" And they say, "No, Naz, you put it down and we'll pick it up." So the Naz stepped back a few paces and he said, "All great swinging flowers of the fields." And they said, "Oh, great non-stop singular sound of beauty." And the Naz said, "Stamp upon the terror." And they hit it. And the Naz say, "Straighten your miracle of body." And the body went up. And he said, "Straighten your arms." The arms went up. And he said, "Higher." And the arms went higher. And the Naz said, "Dig infinity." And they dug it. And when they did, wham! The thunder went through. And they look in the left hand is a great big sweet stuffed, smoked fish, and in the other, a big, thick loaf of that gone crazy honey tasting non-stop sweet swinging southern bread. Why, these polecats flipped. Nas never did nothing simple. When he laid it, he laid it. Say when the saints marching in, go marching in. When the saints go marching in, hallelujah! I wants to be in that number. The saints go marching in. Say when the saints marching in, go marching in. Where the saints go march rubber in. Hallelujah! I wants to be in that number. The saints go marching rubber in.
Clearly, it suited the U.S. government, the mafia, and in particular, Michael Jeffrey, for Jimi to be neutralized. But just how did Jimi Hendrix die?
All right, now it's been said for 30 years that Jimi Hendrix choked on his own vomit. It was said that he died of a heroin overdose. Of course, none of that's true. He didn't choke to death on his own vomit. Something had to make him sick, right? So now it's known that he took 9 Vesperex tablets. These are sleeping pills the night that he died. Now, it's been said that he died from an overdose of barbiturates. The problem is Jimi Hendrix was a chronic insomniac. He was used to barbiturates, and the Vesperex that he took really had very little effect on him. He took 2 tablets. He didn't feel a thing, couldn't go to sleep. He had taken an amphetamine capsule at a party the night before. So the 9 Vesperex tablets he took really had no connection to his ultimate end. But when he was wheeled into the emergency room, his throat was cleared, and the physician wrote that great masses of red wine came gushing out of his stomach and his lungs, right? So as I reenact the death of Jimi Hendrix, he must have been held down, a gallon of wine poured down his throat until he drowned. There were only 20 milligrams of alcohol in his blood when he was brought to the emergency room, which means there wasn't even enough time for that alcohol to enter his system. So the cause of death was drowning, and it looks to me like it was a forced drowning.
And finally, they're playing the part that great chokes me almost, but I can't let the joke come out.
Jimi Hendrix had a packet of 42 Vesperex tablets in his pocket. Now, Eric Burden of the Animals has claimed that Jimi Hendrix committed suicide. If that was the intent, it's very likely that he would have taken all the barbiturates in his possession. So it's clear that suicide was not the object. If suicide had been the intent, and if he had died accidentally, it's doubtful that he would have been fully dressed. He was found fully clothed. When the ambulance drivers arrived, they said that no one else was there. Monica Danneman claimed to be there, and of course her testimony has holes in it the size of the Brooklyn Bridge. Now we know, because he was fully clothed, right, we know that it wasn't an accident. We know that he didn't just die in his sleep. He was in his London hotel room, and he must have been restrained. It's very doubtful that he sat down to drink the red wine and filled up his stomach and his lungs. I've never heard of such a thing. The only other possibility is that his head was held in a sink full of wine until he drowned, or he was held down and it was poured down his throat. And I think this is the most likely scenario, because it's doubtful that his stomach would be so full of wine. I think he was held down, it was forced down his throat, filled his lungs, and he was dead within minutes.
Hi, this is Robin Trower. I'm totally against any form of hard drugs. If you've ever thought of using or even trying them, please don't. And if you know anyone who is a user, please try to help them all you can. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. I'm glad you made this journey. I want to thank Larry Storch from F Troop, Corporal Agarn. I want to thank Doug Higley, the creator of monstrosities and oddities known as Zibbits for the sideshow world, and the very lovely and charming Dr. Dot. As usual, our first guest from show number 1, returning for show number 12. And also I would like to thank Chris Rush, our regular resident madman, for his pontifications. And I hope that this journey has been as pleasurable for you as it has been for us. We'll see you next month on another episode of Esoterica with Johnny Rizzo. And now, a parting shot.
Lament for my sore and crucified, I seek to know you, acquiring soulful wisdom. You can open walls of mystery, strip show. How to acquire death in the morning show. TV death which the child absorbs, death well mystery which makes me right. Slow train, the death of my gives life. Forgive the poor old people who gave us entry, taught us God in the child's prayer in the night. Guitar player, ancient wise satyr, sing your ode to my caress its lament, stiffen and guide us, we frozen. Lost cells, the knowledge of cancer, to speak to the heart and give the great gift, words, power, trance. This stable friend and the beasts of his zoo, wild-haired chicks, women flowery in their summit, monsters of skin, each color connects to create the boat which rocks the race. Could any hell be more horrible than now and real? I pressed her thigh and death smiled. Death, old friend, death and my are the world. I can forgive my injuries in the name of wisdom, luxury, romance. Sentence upon sentence, words are healing lament, for the death of my spirit has no meaning in the soft fire. Words got me the wound and will get me well, if you believe it. All join now and lament for the death of my a tongue of knowledge in the feathered night. Boys get crazy in the head and suffer. I sacrifice my on the altar of silence.
Esoterica.